Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm super excited about this interview today. I had met this gentleman on a podcast that I co-host on called What the Book. I'm there live every Sunday with my fellow co-hosts. It's such a good time. Check it out. And we had this author come on, and honestly, the hour was not enough time. So, of course, I stalked him immediately and said, "You need to get on my channel now." So, luckily, he decided to come back. And we're not only talking about books here, we're talking about modeling, acting, film production. He has his own film company. Like, what is happening? So I'm super excited for this conversation. How are you today, Aaron K Crocker?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm like so excited that you said yes to come back because I wasn't sure if we scared you enough on the podcast. So I'm so happy that you came and joined.
I'm glad to just be invited. Like that, What the Book was so much fun. So I'm sure that this is going to be as much, if not more. So I'm really excited. It's hard to scare me though. Like it takes a lot.
Well, we'll give our best then. My first question to you is, and I did say that I was going to get it wrong. So what is it like living in Fredericksburg, Virginia?
Fredericksburg. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
You got it. Like you got there. So I grew up in a really small town, El Dorado, and I lived there my entire life. I moved out here in 2007. And it's a lot larger than what I'm used to. And it's interesting. It's an adventure. It's an adventure that even, I can't math. 8 years later, like I'm still getting used to it. But what I do love is downtown. I love downtown. It's really artsy. It's really like this small community artsy type feel. Lots of like small businesses, small restaurants. So that would be my favorite part of Fredericksburg.
I want to start talking about your books. I want to get straight into it. What started you in your writing journey? Why did you want to publish your first book?
So my start in writing was in undergrad, and I switched from when I graduated with my associates, I switched to Mary Wash, which was a university. And I wanted to do like police work. I wanted to go into law enforcement. And that's what my emphasis was in. So you have to take like writing technique classes, like technical writing classes. And they're for nurses and law enforcement. And so I did that. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the creative writing part. I was always a reader. So I ended up needing like, what do they call them? Electives. And I took like a short story class. Well, what I did not read was that the first half of the semester, or the first half of the semester was poetry. The second half was the creative writing. So I went to my professor and I was like, I can't do this. I don't read poems. I don't understand poems. I certainly don't write poems. And she was like, give it like 3 weeks. And I was like, she was nice, So I was like, all right, maybe she just wants people in her class. I don't know. Like, I was like, I'll give it 3 weeks. Fell in love with it. Like anything went. I was like, this is great. And I can write about dead people in metaphor or, just like whatever. So I fell in love with that. And I went all the way to poetry seminar. So what actually got me started for my first book, which was Synchronicity, was an exercise where I wanted to practice writing in different voices. And so I made up all these characters and kind of gave them little backstories and what they're doing. And I just started writing in their different voices, and I just made them vastly different. And everywhere from like Sarah, who is super smart actually, but you really couldn't tell just from her linguistics, because I was also taking a lot of linguistics classes. So that kind of fit into that as well, because especially like when we were talking about gender stereotypes and linguistics and, all of that gets really technical. So, I wrote in her voice, and then I wrote in Wesley's voice and Lila's voice and the villain's voice. And then I was like, this is a book. And so then that's when my mind just went, and in a week, I just pounded this all out and made it a story. And that was pretty much it. I mean, then I'm sitting there with this and I was like, well, I guess I should get it edited. So I did, which was a mess. I mean, not with my editor, Lynette is great, but like just my writing was a mess. And so I did that. And then I was like, well, what do? I guess I should publish it. Like I spent this time mostly editing it. I might as well publish it. So I did.
So I'm super curious then, because you obviously love acting, you love modeling, you love creating film. You're obviously a very creative person, but what came first? Was it because of the writing, because of these courses, that then you're like, oh, there's multiple points of view, or was it just always there?
I mean, it was always there in a lot of ways. Like, I guess my earliest is like I had this cassette player, you know, cassette players. And I like back in the day, you know, you'd put your tape in and you would hit record and you could record your voice on these cassette players. So what I figured out was that if I had two cassette players, I could record songs off the radio, which was like the early days probably of pirating music. So I could record these songs off the radio, talk, and then at the same time play the music and then talk over the music. Like I figured out with multiple recorders, I could do multiple things. And so I would put that together. I always had an off sense of humor that got me in a lot of trouble, but was super creative. And so I'd make like little like sketch comedies about Geraldo Rivera. It's a really old talk show host, and like I would use music for that. And then I got into band, and in 6th grade I went through band like I think every year, if I remember right. Got into choir, always loved music. From an early age, my mom encouraged me to sing, and I was in like she passed away when I was very young, and she made sure that I had piano lessons. So I did piano, and then I got into theater, but I really wanted to be like backstage. I did not want to be on stage. I loved like stage crew, especially lighting and playing around with lights and timing lights and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. So I've always liked art, but it seems like I've always kind of gravitated towards the technical side of art, which is why I love directing and filmmaking. And now I'm learning Da Vinci, so I'm learning editing. I'm getting a crash course in editing with Justin, who already knows, but I'm getting the crash course, so it's fun.
So how did you get into then? What were the steps for you to get into each of these? Because Rome wasn't built in a day. How did you get there? How did you get to where you are now?
I mean, it was literally like I was sitting in a rocking chair posting on Instagram, and the next minute I get a message from a production company, which I'm like, I don't even know, you know, and they were wanting me to be on this baking show for people who can't bake, because Lord knows I can't bake. And I was trying to bake. So I would like post my baking on Instagram. Cause I mean, I was even just proud I didn't burn the kitchen down. Like I've set stuff on fire in the kitchen. Like I didn't know that if you put water on oil, it would like, yeah. Anyway, I was just glad nobody died. And I told him that. I was like, I'm not bragging. Like I really cannot bake. Like nobody died. So I'm just documenting it on Instagram. So if the FBI comes, they know. So anyway, I thought it was a joke, but I just went with it. And then the next thing I know, I'm in LA and I'm filming, you know, for Netflix. And I'm like, well, okay. Like it literally was just like that. It was literally like from sitting in a chair to LA to coming back to Virginia to deciding like about 6 or 7 months later to maybe do some extra work, and then getting pulled for speaking lines, and just, you know, like one thing just building onto another. I mean, I don't know. It was like waking up and boom. And when I realized how to funnel all of this, I guess, into, and don't get me wrong, like I love acting, absolutely love it, love modeling, but my true passion is like the writing and the directing and being on the other end of the camera, and to learn how I can use that to funnel it into what I really want to do. And then from there, it's just putting the work in. I mean, it's long days. It's 18-hour days, 17-hour days, 20-hour days. And it might be like I'm sitting around, but I'm watching tutorials and, you know, learning from people who have made it, who are gracious enough to say, you know, well, this is what I did on a budget. When I was doing indie films, this is what I did. This is what I went to Home Depot and put together for $20. So then I'm going to Home Depot, you know, putting stuff together for $20, like, you know.
So what was, I guess, the process though? And that, like this stuff, I'm very curious about this stuff because I know nothing about this side of it. So how did that work from a perspective? You've obviously just stepped into it. You stepped into a Netflix show. Are they providing you with, you know, lines that you have to do or very specific? And was that sort of what gave you a little bit more attention to detail, I want to say, that gave you a taste for, oh, okay, this is how I might have to choreographer my own people when I do my own thing?
They really didn't give you lines. I could tell that they were trying to, I guess, with their questions, direct you towards, I guess, bringing out certain aspects of your personality. But it didn't, the show itself didn't really lean or lend itself towards any drama. So a lot of it was comedy. I would say 99% of it was just improv, just on the fly. And which, I mean, even through like the audition phase, when like Skyping with I guess the directors and whoever in LA, it was a lot of improv. Like you would have to show them a lot, because then when you're baking, it's a lot of like, you're trying to bake, which is great because none of us knew how to bake. And so you're trying to bake, but you're also trying to talk through the entire, they're like, narrate your baking. And it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing, you know? And I set the microwave on fire, which got cut. You know, it was a mess. Like, you had Jolito over there, and he decided that he was going to bake his cookies and then put the cookie cutter in and baked. So I had already cut my cookies, and I looked at Jolito and I was like, was I supposed to bake them and then cut them? Like, I thought I did it backwards, but apparently he did it backwards. I was like, one of us got to be wrong. But not so much at that show, but I have been on sets where like I've seen ideas, or I guess like little tricks or camera hacks or whatever. Like, you know, it's like I'm acting, but I'm mentally taking notes. I'm going like, oh, you can do that with that. That's pretty cool. You can make a room that looks like this look like this by, you know, doing whatever. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been on sets like taking notes in my head.
So what was it then like for you? Because you took a big jump. You created your own production company, 669. So what what gravitated you step by step to go through that? And then you have just finished your first horror film. So I want to talk about that as well, because that's amazing.
What started it? I don't know. Like a insanity, just a bout of insanity. They hit me all of a sudden. I wake up and one day at 4 a.m. I'm like, oh, I should start a production company. You know, now I've got this other idea that, you know, next year. But no, like I've always wanted to make films. I always wanted to make movies and write movies and direct movies and shoot. I'll get there, but I decided that the best road for me would be to just LLC my name and then put subsidiaries under it so that I could have like an umbrella for my art. So after that, I was like, well, should my name be the production company? So then I branched that out to 669, because I figured if I'm going to make a film, I need like some kind of, I guess, company. I mean, everybody's got like whatever productions, you know. So I did that. And then, you know, I had my film, and I was to the point where I was so desperate to artistically make a film. If Justin would not have been on board, and he's amazing, I can't wait for this to come out so people can see like his cinematography and all that. I would have been out there with my cell phone in 4K, like with actors, like moving my cell phone around on the tripod, like, okay, hold on, I gotta go charge my cell phone up and Dropbox all of this, you know, like I would have found a way to do it. Absolutely. Like, absolutely. It's just, I love it. Like, it's really hard. And I almost had several mental breakdowns. I'm not even going to lie. Like, that's not even a joke, but I absolutely love it. And it's just like, I want to get this edited and do it again, you know, like, I just want to jump back in there. So
I guess that's the thing too, is when you find your passion, it doesn't matter how many hours you put in or whatever it may be, because you're so obsessed with going through the process, even on the days where it's most challenging. And then the next morning you wake up and you're like, but I still love it. I'm a sucker for punishment. And you dive straight back in. How long did it take you, like the process to create this film?
From beginning to end? So we're not done yet. Like, we're still in editing. But so far, I believe, let's see, we're in June. Yeah, it's June. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I think so.
I'm like, it's something. It's June. It might be July. I don't know. But I started this in, I think the first day Justin and I sat down and talked was in February. And, you know, and then it was talking to him and seeing if he would even be on board. Casting, talking to a few other people about talents they could bring, finishing the script. Finishing, because I was still kind of writing it like the day. I was like, oh, guys, I got this new stuff, you know, whatever. But then it's just all the pre-production stuff. It was going through the different locations and looking at, okay, well, we want to do this from this angle. We're going to have everybody walk in like this, you know? So it was like days of doing that. And now it's, you know, then 3 days of filming, and we might still do a pickup shoot. If we do it, it's going to be awesome. Like, I'm so excited to do the pickup shoot. I'm like, yes. But, so now it's in editing, and we pretty much have everything ran together. We're just, right now we're in the fun task of dubbing the audio, which is terrible. Like, there's a reason sound engineers have their separate awards at like the Oscars and stuff. Like, these people cannot get enough recognition, because it's insanity. Like, you can break those WAV files down to, like, you know, let's get the microscope out, and it's nuts.
Justin, who is Justin?
Yeah.
What is his role, and how did you meet?
Okay. So Justin, he is first and foremost, a photographer, and I met him online. And the first time I actually met, like, we were Facebook friends forever, and he lives in Fredericksburg. So the first time I really met him, he was wanting to do like shoots of just models to get images for his portfolio. And I was like, okay, like, I need pictures, you need pictures. Like, so I met up and we hit it off. Like, his work is amazing, and he's gotten into more filming and videography. So he started doing music videos, and I was looking at his work in that. And so naturally, when it came to talking to people who knew about cameras and filming, you know, running cameras, I went straight to him. And he owns JB Concepts, which is his business. So it's sort of like, well, it's not even sort of, it's just the collaboration of both of our businesses, JB Concepts and 669 Productions. And he was more than willing to come on board. So it's been awesome.
How do you then go on a promotional side of it? Because again, I have so many questions about this, because I know about the book side, so much the film. So when you have done all the editing and everything's squeaky clean and tight, what do you do then?
So I'm gonna run it sort of like I did my writing. For my writing, I started like just doing writing contests and competitions and trying to win awards and get my name out there as somebody, you know, who has done something, you know. So I'm going to try to run it the same. I'm going to put it in, we're going to have a private viewing for the cast and crew. And then I want to try to run it through film festivals, see if I can get it out there, get some awards, get some talk behind, like conversation behind it, hopefully like some investors, you know, and then once it's out of the film festival circuit, I'm going to talk to some local theaters. Hopefully they would be willing to let our locally filmed indie film into the theater for like a public premiere. And then I'll, you know, from there, I'm thinking probably put it on YouTube, try to get views, try to get talking about it that way. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. That's how I'm hoping to approach it. Fingers crossed.
And because, like, again, this is your first product. There'll be plenty more to come afterwards. So, I'm so excited. What would you say that the difference then is, the biggest difference between novel writing and screenwriting is?
Oh, I guess I felt like, I don't know. I guess when I write a novel, I guess I get, with the descriptions, I get a little more poetic. I get a little more, like, I'm more descriptive, I suppose, in a novel, because I'm not trying to hold my reader's hand, but, you know, I want to give them that image, that, you know, they're not watching a TV, they're not watching a screen, you know, they're reading a book. And like when I read, I know I see it in my mind like a screen, but everybody's different. So I'm just trying to give them that description so that they have room to, I guess, expand on that for themselves in their own mental movie screen. Whereas when I was writing / sealing the screenplay, I'm keeping in mind that it is going to go to film. So I want to give the characters, obviously the dialogue in the characters and the description, the settings. So I want to give the characters enough, but I feel like what we're going to see and the audio, you know, I don't have to write about the audio, except maybe put a note in there if I know what I want for later, but I don't have to write about the audio because we're going to hear the audio. It's going to make us cringe, you know, and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like in a novel, you would describe some sounds or.
So what okay, so this is a problem I personally have with creative projects is I'm working on one and then I already have my attention on another one because I'm just like, that is shiny and new. Are you at that stage now that you sort of kind of finish like the filming, like one step of it's done? Are you already looking at like the next project already?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm putting it together in my mind so that I have like the major pieces in place. So when I sit down to write it, I have an outline. And no, because if I get too far into it, like things aren't going to get done as fast on the movie. And now that fortunately I have Da Vinci, like Justin and I have an opportunity like in our own time to co-work and co-edit the project. So I'm really working hard to focus on I've even tabled the novel I'm writing for the time being, so I can focus on just getting this editing done. Like it's new, but it's got to get done. I know, like, you know, it's just keeping in mind that there's those steps you have to take, you know, so it's hard.
And I think too, I'm terrible for focus. And so, but it's like where attention goes, your energy goes. So when you have too many projects happening, you're scattered and you can't give it 100%. I learned that the hard way. I was like, so many shiny things.
But I always see you writing. Like I always see you like, I'm like, it's really inspirational. Like when I see your TikToks or I see like on your Facebook story or I like see your feed, I'm like, okay, look at Kaya. Like she's like she's getting it. Like it's great. Like it's motivating. I love it. So.
It's different now. It's changed in form, which is really wonderful. When I first started, when I was a bit younger, I was very gung ho. So like for 4 hours sleep, if that. I was waking up at crazy times, 1 a.m. before I start my work at 5, and just it wasn't sustainable. So now I have it's not even the luxury. I'm a little bit smarter now, just to allocate particular times with it. But again, try and focus, because the problem was is I used to take on too many projects and like smash out a whole pile of different books, and yeah, your body can't sustain with that. So now it's like, I'll do this and do this. Speaking of Facebook, TikTok though, I stalk you as well. So I'm glad we mutually stalk each other.
There we go.
It's a confession time. But I love your stuff, and I love your creativity on TikTok as well, because I find it very unique too. So I was curious as to why you think it's so important to be on platforms, why it's important to have that kind of social media presence.
For me, it's just like, for me personally, it's just to like creative dump, just get stuff out of my mind. It sweetens the deal if you can get stuff out of your mind and get it in front of people who might be potential readers or potential creatives who might have doorways into other opportunities, or perspectives or ideas. So I like it. It's a way to connect, because I'm not somebody who's going to go out purposely to be social. Like, I go to the grocery store, I have like 3 things in mind. So unfortunately I go every day, because I get like 2 or 3 items at a time, and I'm in and out. Like, I don't go anywhere thinking, ooh, who am I going to meet today? I go in like just laser focused on, I'm going to get this, I'm going to do this. So I never go out to be social. So it's a good way for me, I guess, to force myself to be social.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, but what I love, my favorite word is opportunity, because especially in this industry, and this is something I really hone in on people, is that you need to create your own opportunity. If you're not there actively putting yourself out there and seeking it, and some people hop on, they're like, it's wasted time. To some it may be, but you never know what door is going to open. And we always have a vision or a goal or a dream that we ultimately want, but we don't necessarily know how to get there. And you could open like 20 different doors that'll get you that way. So I think it is important to have a social media presence, or doing that online networking with people internationally, because you don't know where it's going to lead.
Just posting cakes on Instagram and Netflix. And probably if I never would have posted those cakes, I don't know that I would be where I'm at.
I'm kind of happy to hear about how terrible you are at cooking though, because I'm not a bad cooker. However, I'm a very, let's say I'm a bit of a ditz. So I'm a set it and forget it kind of girl. And I will like put something in, and then I'll come back and be like, oh shit, it's burnt. But because I have so much pride and I'm stubborn, I will still eat it. When people like, don't eat that. And I'm like, no, I need to learn from my lesson, which I never learned from. So it's really nice to hear that somebody's worse at cooking than me.
Oh man, I can hit a grill though. I can totally hit a grill. So
what's the worst thing you've done in the kitchen? Like, what is the worst thing what have you done burnt?
Well, I've set the stove on fire numerous times. I've set the microwave on fire. I've set the oven on fire. I mean, what haven't I done in a kitchen? I mean, really, there's a shorter list of stuff I haven't managed in a kitchen. Nobody's ever died. So that's probably the only thing I haven't done in my kitchen, is just like arbitrarily or unwittingly committed a homicide or manslaughter or whatever. Like, everybody who's ate my food is still alive.
I love that. That's where the bar is.
I can brag about that. Exactly.
What would you say your greatest challenge has been, and your greatest accomplishment?
Oh man, my greatest challenge, I think, well, not I think, like my own mind. And I struggle. I have a lot of mental illness I've had to overcome. And I've had a psychologist for 2.5 years who that's amazing. So that is my worst enemy. And my greatest accomplishment is my complete lifestyle change. I used to have migraines, kidney stones, and even the mental illness. And I think my greatest accomplishment I can talk about art all day and awards and whatever, but truly for me, my greatest accomplishment was finding the self-discipline to completely change my lifestyle, to start eating healthier, to make sure I'm hydrated, to start a vigorous weight training routine, to integrate cardio in with that, and to work my sleep schedule, and to have the discipline to still work, and and to wake up at 4 a.m. and start my day early before anybody else can be up, and to have that 20-hour day, and to not really have migraines like I used to not have kidney stones, to have a clearer head, and just be able to, not be in bed with depression and, whatever. So, yeah, I'd say one kind of hinges on the other, but yeah, I just applaud myself for my complete lifestyle change.
I have a couple of things to say on that, because I am a complete advocate for healthy body, healthy mind, and also like healthy spirit. I believe in like law of attraction and all of that good stuff. And, I'm a little bit hippy dippy, and that's fine because it makes me happy. Yeah. I'm a good person. And one thing though I do want to comment on as well is like with mental health, because it is something I don't tell a lot of people, but it's something I've suffered with throughout my whole life. And the thing is too, is I think that sometimes there is a misconception, especially in the industry, that people are like, yeah, but that's where the raw stuff comes from. That's where this comes from. And that is incorrect. Like, it's not, you need to take care of yourself, because you're not getting divine inspiration from that place, and you're not going to have balance at any point. So first and foremost, like, I'm so happy and proud of everyone that's accomplished so many things, and I've done this before, I've burnt myself out. So these are learned lessons. You need to look after yourself first. And that's when the real flow, the real creativity, and you find that's usually when all the good stuff comes in, like the awards, like the unexpected opportunities. You don't usually get them when you're really tired and you're still in bed and you're just forcing it. It's not going to work.
I am on the same boat with you there. I wrote a whole blog article that the title of it was "Mental Illness is a Shit Show. Let's Stop Romanticizing It," because I got so tired of reading about, oh, your mental illness is beautiful and it's what makes you artsy and it's what makes you creative. And if you didn't suffer through depression and PTSD and disassociation, and it's like, no, like, I that misconception, I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but I vehemently disagree with that whole idea that it's romantic and it fosters all this creativity. It's complete madness. It does not do anybody any favors.
I completely agree. And it's funny, one of my, and I associate this with books as well, and in people's writing careers. So one of the bands I enjoyed quite much as a teenager is Paramore. And, as I've gotten older with them, their music has changed. And I remember they really got hit on one of their recent releases a couple of years ago, because everyone's like, oh, it's not the gritty, grungy stuff that we remember as teenagers. You guys are changed. And her response was, well, of course we've changed. We're not those gritty, grungy teenagers anymore. We don't associate as a profile anymore. That's not who we are. And it's the same, I think, with writing is, you'll often find that people have really like raw material at the start, and then they can find it, or they go off into some, softer contemporary romance, whatever it may be. And then their readers really struggle with that, because they're like, oh, I remember you for this kind of stuff. And you're like, but I'm not in that headspace anymore. That isn't what I'm producing anymore. So I definitely think you could see like the flow in where somebody is as well through their writing, which is really insightful.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
What would you say your most memorable reader interaction has been?
I need a highlight reel for this. So I'll start with the most animated one. It was at a book signing, and I'm always fortunate to have Lynette. She also writes, Lynette Casper, and she's my editor. She's amazing. And so we always share a table, and I love it. So we were there, and, you know, two ladies stopped. They were friends. One of them was buying her books, which was like, yay, Lynette. And so the lady picked up Synchronicity. The other lady picked up Synchronicity while her friend was, you know, talking and whatever. And she reads the back and she looks at it, you know, flips it over. And she's like, so what is your book about? So I do my whole, you know, cookie cutter elevator pitch. You know, I'm like, well, it's a sci-fi with telepathy and telekinesis that hinges on, you know, the idea that we've evolved these abilities. So Lila has these powers, but she's not aware. And then when she meets Wesley, and the minute I said Wesley, this lady snaps. She snaps. She goes, you must just be against women. Haven't you heard of Me Too? And I'm sitting there like, I am not even putting two and two together. I do not even know where this came from. I don't know what I said. I don't know. And she's just like, have you not heard of Me Too? Can an author just not write a book with women in it? I read this book about witches and their sisters, and there's only women in them. It's always when the man comes along, the man has to come along. I can't believe you put men in your books. I mean, she is going off. And then I realized it's because I write men in my books. So finally, when I can get a word in, I said, ma'am, you know, I'm a big proponent of women. I was like, I write what's in the world, and there are men in the world, and I write male characters that would just be in the world. You know, and Lynette said something. I feel like she said, I don't want to put words in her mouth. I feel like she said something like, you know, well, you know, her, like, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she did like kind of like step in and like help me. But this lady was very loud, and just, I was against women because I write male characters. How dare I? So there was that. There was the lady who I pitched Synchronicity to. And again, it's a sci-fi telepathy and telekinesis. And I get this blank stare and kind of a nod. And she goes, oh my God, is this your life story? And I just said, yeah, it actually is. It was a harrowing experience based on my life story.
Did she buy the book?
I mean, what? No, but she's probably walking around thinking I'm running for the government.
This is my favorite question to ask. What is your goal? What is the dream that you're chasing?
Besides donuts, like, I have this reoccurring dream of hijacking a Krispy Kreme truck. Like, that's my reoccurring dream. Like, I've had whole sessions with my psychologist on this. Like,
I mean,
no, I'm kidding.
But I'm like, that's great though. Like, that could be a next film. Like, you can actually play out your dream of hijacking donuts.
I really could. But no, my dream is to brand. Like I said, I have this idea for another sector of my company that I'm hoping to launch next year. Fingers crossed. So my dream would be to have these fully functional artistic sections, and where I'm just writing films and making films, and I never have to Uber drive again. But yeah, I mean, I just want to like have it self-sustaining with people I can trust, like kind of overseeing some of this, and mainly put my focus into writing and directing films.
That's awesome. I'm so excited to watch this space. Considering I like stalk you on social media, I'm excited to watch this happen. So I have a new segment called Speed Dating with an Author. So you and I are going to go on a romantic date. I lit a candle. That's the kind of person that I am. Yeah, getting the ambience happening. And the first question I have for you is, what is the clumsiest moment you've ever had?
The clumsiest moment? Oh my God. I'm a lot, like all of middle school, really. I mean, 6th through 8th grade was one big clumsy moment. Like there was not a not clumsy moment. So I'm calling that. It was like 3 years of clumsy moments.
What 3 words would best describe you?
Oh my God. Darkness. Eclectic. I don't know. Pizza? Like, I don't know. Like, what words to describe me? Definitely not artistic. Boring. I'm boring. I'm really boring.
You're not boring.
Like, just
far from. We'll say like nonchalant.
I'd be nonchalant. Yeah, I can do that.
Chill.
I'm just not care.
Yeah. I hope that's appropriate. Yeah. What is the best song that describes you?
Oh my God. You're killing me. Could you just ask me like the square root of something? Like, you know, something like the best song that describes me? I have no idea. There's so many songs. Like, I didn't even think about this. This is like the slowest speed dating ever. I don't know. What? You pick a song. Whatever song you say. Huh?
What's your favorite band?
I listen to everything. I listen to everything from like Celtic rock and French pop to like to like metal. Like I was at a metal concert the other night. Oh my God. I don't know.
Have you ever heard of Maximum the Hormone?
No.
So they're like, so I also listen to like a diverse sense of music, but my favorite music is a Japanese rock band called Maximum the Hormone, and they scream and I love them. And so you have no idea I don't know what they're saying, but I remember when I was working in transport, my one of my drivers came in, he's like, you're always listening to different music, like you're listening to like classical, then you're listening to pop, then you're listening to Buble. I was like, oh yeah, do you wanna hear my actual favorite? He's like, yeah, okay. And I played it and he's like, oh my God, that makes me want to like drive my truck into a bunch of pedestrians. I was like, it really calms and soothes me. Like, I just love it so much. So give them a go.
Okay. One of their songs. I'll just go with that. Like anytime we might be running over pedestrians, like that would totally probably describe me. Like,
let's do
not that I run over pedestrians.
What is your life motto?
My life motto? All right. Okay. I never knew this until I actually found it. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What doesn't kill me, better fucking run.
Oh, I like that.
I never had a life motto till I saw that quote. I did not come up with that. I found that online, but I love it. I don't know who said it. It didn't have a tag, but
it's fitting. I like that. What is a unique talent or skill set that you have that not many people know about?
What do I do that people don't? Okay, I know I don't talk about it a lot, but I have perfect pitch in most instruments that I play by ear because I can read music, but not like if reading music was reading books, I would be like a kindergartner where I have to sit down and like write every note out or whatever with the letter. So it's easier to play by ear, and yeah, I can hear something and pretty much play it and transpose it. I just don't talk.
Who are you?
Huh?
Who are you?
I have no idea. Like that is the question I've spent a lot of time trying to answer. So if you figure the answer out, let me know.
I'm trying to figure it out. That's why I got you back on. I've had such a good time. What's coming up for you? Where do we stalk you? What do we need to know? So
I've redone my website, aaronkcrocker.com, and you can find you can find the 669 production link. With any luck, I'll have a web store soon. You can find like When She Walked Away, which is an organization I run that I have more plans for in the future. So it's domestic violence is what it deals with. And you can find all of that on my website. Huh?
How did you start with that organization? What?
So what it started out as was an anonymous platform for survivors or people who were going through domestic violence to be able to like get their voices heard through poetry or creative writing. And they could send it to the email, which I haven't checked in a while, but they could send it to the email and they could say whether they wanted it up anonymously or not. And if not, I would put their links and their names. And if they did want it anonymously, then I would protect their names, but it would still be like a way for them to have something out there that people could read about their experience and hopefully help them heal. Because I feel like artistic expression is a really effective way to heal, to be able to use your words. Like, words can be very powerful. So that's where that came from. But there's a lot more that I want to do with it.
That's amazing.
So as far as upcoming projects, is getting Slash Ceiling edited. I'm still working on the extra, but like I said, I've tabled it for a little bit to more or less to finish the editing, and then I'll get back on that and get that into editing. And then starting on the new film, which is I'm so excited to start writing it. So that's what I have.
That's awesome. So watch your space. I will put the links down below so we all know where to find you. Where do we find you on Facebook and TikTok? Is it all under Aaron K Crocker?
Yeah, Facebook is all under Aaron K Crocker. TikTok, I believe, is TikTok is Aaron Has Pun. AARON Has Pun. I don't know. And then I believe that Instagram is under Aaron K Crocker.
Amazing. Well, go to the website, stalk you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on today. I've had a blast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun too.
Yes. Well, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, awesome.
Bye.
Bye.